highlight of the day. All right? We're now going to... She likes a good build-up. She doesn't get embarrassed at all when I do this to her. We're delighted that Peace is going to speak to you now. She was concerned that she was always going to come on straight after lunch, which is normally the worst session when everyone's tired. Well, hey, I wasn't going to do it. So what we thought we'd do is we'd start off with some rousing worship, so you're hopefully all awake. And I know you're not going to nod off over the next half hour as you hear from our very own Peace Ruharuza.
You need to stay with me. Hello. Well fed and satisfied. Please don't close your eyes on me, because mine are as tired. I had a good plate of food. Yes, another day to celebrate and come together to say how great the Lord is, and always to share our walks of life so that we can encourage one another until the work is done. Amen? Some years now I've been sharing my life story to many different countries. And I know you and I, we have inspired so many people to sponsor children all around the world. And I know we have done a great big job. That's why I want to say thank you to all of you and to every child advocate the world over. Most of you have heard my story more than once. Some maybe 5 times. Others, minus John, maybe 20. And I had to put myself on a task. How am I going to talk to these people who have heard me talk over and over again? Some of my best friends, like Darren, told me, do you have another story of your life? I'm like, yeah, I think today I'll have to tell another story of my life. Hope you find it more interesting. So I set up myself a task. And this evening, this is what I want to share with you. To every advocate, I want to say, if I was given a chance to write to you a letter when I was only 4 years old, what would I say? And what would be the main points? And this is what I would say. Please listen, because these are facts. Dear advocate, my name is Peace and I'm 4 years old. I have heard that you help children like me to be safe, get food and not fall sick all the time. First of all, I want to say thank you for doing that, because I was so worried that no one out there cares enough to come and help me and my sister. When you reach here, I will show you many other children who have been waiting for you to come. They have more problems than me. One of my friends did not find food for 3 days and stayed asleep until men came and took him away. Now I think he's not coming back, because every time these men take someone, that person never comes back. If you can, please tell them not to do that again, because he was my bravest friend. Next year, some of my friends will go to school. If you come before next year, maybe all of us can go to school. I need to go with them because I have to become a nurse. The nurse who used to come to my village stopped coming. I think she was not happy. She has now gone to a big city far, far away. If I don't become a nurse, there will be too many sick people here, and the men will come and take them away as they did to my best friend. By the way, advocate, do you have a friend? Please tell them to come too. Because if you come with some of your friends, you will help very many children and will all get many nurses. The boys also will become drivers or even pilots. I know that sometimes you also get tired, but I am praying for you every night that you don't get too tired and stop before reaching here. I am the best prayer in the whole world. I always pray for your family and friends so that they can support you to keep walking until you reach here. If you don't give up, I won't give up either. If you keep walking, I'll keep praying and waiting. I know you are coming. All my friends want me to tell them about you, but I have kept it a secret so that when you get here, they'll be surprised. I love you so much, advocate. Now you are my best friend. I can't wait to see you soon. Your best friend, Peace. That is my letter to all the advocates, all my advocate friends at 4 years old. And for the benefit of those who have not heard my story, my life story from destitution to advocacy, I'll say this to you. For those who have heard, please purpose to shut your ears but open your eyes. And this is my walk of life when I was 3 years old. I was born in a large family, a handful of children, 14 of us. And age 3, my family fell apart. My father had lost the job he only had, which was the source of income. He was a commissioner for human rights. And when that ended, everything went along with it. My mother left us, and we had to learn how to fend for ourselves. I had my twin sister and my other siblings. We were a strong team because we had to look out for each other. But time came when the pressure was even harder, that we had to be given away to different families. Some of these people that my siblings were given to were some of the people that my father had helped when he still had money. But the result wasn't as maybe expected. We all have different stories where we went to live when we were separated as siblings. And at age 3, going to 4, I had to do things that most of you definitely will find so hard to believe. I used to spend nights without food. And I used to wake up very early in the morning to go look for firewood, come back, prepare meals. And at the end of the day, I didn't have anything to eat because eating was not part of the program. My job was find something to cook with, prepare the meals, and walk away. And on such occasions, I always had to go hungry because it would be very hard to find something to eat. And I remember at such occasions, I used to end up feeding on flower petals. Not because I was vegetarian, trust me, I wasn't, but that was the only option there was for me to be able to survive. I used to sleep in a small place with goats. That used to be my bed. And I used not to have anything to cover myself with. I had to learn how to survive in those conditions. I was burnt with coal because they were fed up. They didn't want to keep me anymore. So they thought by burning me up, maybe I'll know there is no hope here. I have to walk away. I didn't walk away because there was nowhere to go. Life was hopeless. I succumbed to all abuse, to all pain, and I didn't have anyone to share with my pain. And I learned how to live with pain. I hated it. But what choice did I have? I knew there was no one who cared for me, and I knew that was destiny. I used to listen to words every single day. I was being told I'm worthless. I'll never even live to be a teenager. And I thought that's what life had in store for me. But amidst all that, I had this little hope inside of me, saying something somewhere, something good will come up. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, but I held on to that little hope. Until one day, I found a friend in Compassion through an advocate. I was attending a church which was partnering with Compassion. And at that very moment, when hope was all gone, Compassion was registering children for sponsorship. That's when my details were taken. And I didn't know what would happen thereafter, because all I knew about Compassion was registered children always had free porridge and bread. So after being told that I was registered in Compassion, my first memory was free porridge and free bread, which I loved so much. And I had devised a scheme how I could get the porridge and the bread. I always used to scan through the Compassion-supported children and see the one who was not so keen on homework, especially mathematics and science, and I would come up to them, ask, do you mind me doing your homework? But promise you'll give me your porridge and bread. And definitely I would have so many candidates. So that's what I knew Compassion was. But that was part of the package. It was better than that. I was told somebody somewhere far away has just decided to make you part of their family. They'll take care of you. They'll cater for every single thing you need in life. And you can go to school as long as you want. After a couple of years, I came to understand that when my details were taken and put on a profile that we always walk around with, when my sponsor picked me up and looked into my eyes, he didn't know the scars that I had on my body because of abuse. He didn't know how many days I had spent without meals. He didn't know how many miles I had run away to escape the abuse. And little did he know what I would become in future. But to me, he was buying my freedom. He was putting a hammer to the chains that had bound me. I was living as a slave child. And what hope did I have? Being a girl. He put an end to the suffering. It cost him 21 pounds, but that was the price I needed for my freedom. That was the price I needed to be given a voice. That was the price I needed to be given a right in life. That was the price I needed to have a chance to listen about the love and the care of Jesus Christ. When he sponsored me, and then I was told Jesus cares about the needy, I understood the language. When I was told Jesus feeds the hungry, I could understand he does. When I was told Jesus clothes the naked, I knew what they meant. Because for every child you sponsor down there, if you tell them Jesus cares about you when they have spent 3 days without food, will they really understand you? When you tell them, oh, God cares about you when they have spent 5 days down with a fever without medication, do you think they will understand you? No, they won't. But when you tell them, I'll pay for your medication, I'll pay for your tuition, I'll pay for your meals, and then on top of that you tell them, it's because of the love of Jesus that I'm doing this, they will not stop at anything but do the same for others because it has been done to them. And that is the seed that I picked from being sponsored through compassion. Compassion gave me a chance to get the inner healing. Compassion gave me a chance to find life through Jesus. Compassion gave me a chance to stand and be a voice for others. Through compassion, I got to know the real Jesus that walks on foot. Because he walked into my life that day, that gentleman walked in that church and picked up my profile. And I'll stop at nothing but saying, change can happen. All we need is not to stop, but keep talking and keep going and not giving up. And right now, if I'm to be given the same chance that I was given when I was only 4 years old to write the same letter, what would I say? These would be my words. Dear advocate, is peace your best friend from long time ago? Do you still remember me? You came to my village, Mbarara in Uganda, with your friends and helped sponsor me and many others through compassion. I just wrote to say thank you. Thank you so much for standing up, speaking out and holding on for me. This letter can by no means express the scale and scope of the difference you have made to my life and to those of thousands elsewhere. If I knew then what I know now about how tough it is for you being an advocate, I would have called you my bravest friend. Thank you so much. I did not become a nurse as I had thought, but I got to do something as noble, probably the most fulfilling job in the world. I have become an advocate like you. I am an advocate too. I sometimes get very tired and that oftentimes discouraged, especially when I don't seem to be making a difference to the bigger picture. But when I remember what you did for me, how you kept walking even when it was tough, how you sacrificed your family time, how you braved bad weather until you reached me, I find strength to keep on walking. I know that somewhere out there is a little soul waiting, unable to write me a letter, but praying and waiting that I never stop, that I never give up. And so like you, advocate, I won't stop walking no matter what. Finally, my dear advocate, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God that you might be able to stand against the arrows of the enemy. Our God has promised that he will give his angels charge over you to guard you always. Keep on walking, advocate, until one day you hear these words. Thank you, good and faithful servant. For I was hungry, and you fed me, thirsty, and you gave me a drink, naked, and you clothed me. Would all love to hear those words, wouldn't we? I know it is tough, but there are many of us out there. And this evening, through these letters, I want you to be encouraged. They are still waiting for you to come. So please, don't give up. Come with me. Let's go get them in Jesus' name. Thank you very much.
Anyone fall asleep? No, I think that's it. Yeah, I see a few people, wiping their eyes. Peace, you're an inspiration. What I want you to tell people, I know you alluded to wanting to be a nurse. I've always been moved by the story that you tell of when you were at school and you went to the hospitals. Will you tell people that?
You can finish it, John.
No.
I thank God for the heart of love and compassion that He gave me when I was young, but sponsored through compassion. Every single day of my life, I used to look for something in which I would show appreciation for what I've been given. And my recollection of my young years as a teenager, I used to have meals at school through compassion, and we used to have bread, sometimes lunch. And I knew there were people in the hospital who didn't have the lunch, who didn't have anything to drink. That was a time when AIDS, HIV was so, too much. People didn't know what to do, and people were just dropping off dead. And the way I used to spend my lunch hours, I would get my lunch. It was about 45 minutes walk, but I would run it in 10. I would get my lunch, my drink, and run to the hospital, at least to share it with one person or two. And one day, I went in there, and I found this little young boy of about 16, 17. And he was on his own, all messed up. Came up to him, talked to him. He told me his name. I asked him how long he's been there for. He told me 3 weeks. And no one had come to see him because they thought it was his fault he was suffering from AIDS. I asked him, can you drink? He said, I have nothing to drink. I told him, I'll sit and hold you so that you can drink something. He told me, I can't sit. I held him. I gave him the drink. He gained some strength. And he told me, no, don't finish it, because if you finish it, this is the only thing I've had in a week to drink, and my throat is drying. So keep some on the side for next time. So I told him, let me clean you up. Go outside, and because he was all messy, you come and find when I've cleaned you. So I fed him, cleaned his stuff, left him to go outside, came back. So I told him I have to run back to class because time was running out. I'll come back in the evening to see you. Maybe I'll bring you some of my evening food for your supper. Ran back to the hospital. It was raining. Didn't find him in his place. I asked the patients around, where is he? They told me he had messed himself again. The nurses threw him outside in the rain, and he died. And I said, I'll never be a nurse.
She always gets me. She always ambushes me.
You do ambush me.
You ambush me. You ambush me first. There's something when you're in need and somebody does something for you, it changes you. And what we see here is a lady who actually, the world would look at her and the abuse she suffered and would think that she would never forgive. But actually, as a teenager, she was already sharing what little she had with people who were then worse off than her. And that's just unreal. The world doesn't understand this, but that's God. And that is compassion. Because compassion, I'm glad J. John's gone. The word compassion comes from, I think it's a Greek word. And I think it's splanknezomi. I think it is. Is that right? Something like that. And it means, it comes from the bowels. Deep down was considered to be the seat of love. So when you say moved with compassion, like move the bowels, it's the same sort of thing. It's deep down. And it's something that actually, if you have it, you just can't stop doing it. You know, it's what the Good Samaritan did. He felt compassion. He couldn't not do it. You know, when Jesus saw the 5,000, he saw the multitude, he had compassion. He had to do something. It's something that compassion was now in peace. And she saw other people and wanted to do more. And the great thing is that J. John also said this morning that when you sponsor a little child and lift them out of poverty, you're actually lifting their children out of poverty. And Peace is now married to Patrick, who's currently in Uganda. Sorry? Yeah, he's with his grand from Ireland, yeah. He's in Uganda, but Peace has got a little daughter called Angel, who's absolutely drop-dead gorgeous, like her mum, and a little boy called Prince. Now, I just think that's what this is all about. They will never know poverty because... Huh? Yeah, she'd be quite happy if somebody would like to sponsor them, by the way. She's quite welcome. And it's often said that Peace was born into poverty, but poverty wasn't born in her, and poverty is no longer